So I had two questions. One of them is like about the phrase, the tightening of the screw.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what is the screw? And what's it being tightened on? Like, is there a way of translating?
You don't know what it means to be screwed? Yes, well, the screw is karma.
Yeah.
And when the screw tightens, it means you're not very comfortable in your skin anymore. You're not comfortable in your life. You recognize that you've been living an inauthentic existence, and the suffering you've been running away from and repressing is returning, and there's no escape from it, because it's not only coming from outside, but it's your own mind that is out of control and creating an internal storm of suffering that you don't have the power to stop. And for some, that will be in the form of physical pain, for others, mental suffering, for others, karmic. But the screw, it will inevitably turn as a blessing, because most souls will not awaken until that screw has been turned very tight. And only then will they say, okay, I surrender, right? It's the last resort. And it's usually the last resort of anyone to come to an ashram. And most of those here have had the screw tightened pretty much before they decided it was worth it to be here. So indeed, this is the time when those screws are being tightened for pretty much everyone in the world. And everyone knows that when an empire dies, the last act is war. Everyone knows that that is coming as a result of the externalization of the lower death drive. And that death drive is active in every ego today. And it will act out in ways that will actually tighten the screws of everyone in their life, as well as for themselves. And so that is the psychological decomposition of the ego as it loses its self-control and drops into lower assemblage points and falls into very dense psychopathic, narcissistic, complete delusional states of consciousness. And before that happens, while there is still lucidity, you want to unscrew all of that and surrender to the infinite beauty and love and joy of God consciousness, so that you can actually serve to help unscrew the suffering of others and fulfill our service to that supreme love that is God. Does that help?
Yeah.
And your name is Mitra, which means you're a friend to the world, which means you are here to help others unscrew their own suffering and help them feel much more at peace through the emanation of your own peacefulness and your own capacity to abide without being affected by conditions. You have another question? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, the other question was sort of more a personal question. So like
that one wasn't personal? Okay,
it seems like personal
ahead.
is the issue. With
yes,
that
indeed
it
is.
Yeah. And so yeah, for like the past few years, when I've been on the spiritual process, I guess you could call it, whenever I would like raise my vibrational energy, I would hit like a certain point where it would almost be like I was getting like shocked pretty violently, and it would be like I'd be like in a moment of surrendering and relaxing, then like a really strong sense of attraction or like really strong sense of like superego attack, or sometimes I don't even know what it is, but it's like relaxing, and then all of a sudden a jolt that like the body actually like jumps, and then it just keeps happening, and then it's like, oh, I'm not going to surrender because that's going to keep happening, and it's sort of like, I asked Marjiva Ma about it recently, but I don't know if it's sort of just a resistance that's the sensors creating this thing and it doesn't actually need to happen, or is it something that needs to be like gone through, or what is it?
No, it happens in some way to everyone when they reach that which I called the unbearable, right? The absence of identification with ego. And it is the counterattack of the ego, but at the same time, it's the stirring up of the nigredo that prior to that had been kept repressed, that will now all come up. And if you can endure it and not say, okay, I'm quitting, I'm going to go back into the ego consciousness and stop trying to be a Sat yogi, that won't solve the problem, because you'll still be in that screw that will turn. So the only way to be in it is to endure it as an alchemical furnace that is hermetically sealed. And hermetically sealed means you don't project it on anyone else, and you don't create physical symptoms out of it. You endure it in the manomaya kosha, because it's mental waves. If you don't endure it, it'll become either somatized or karmicized, but it will come back and hurt you. And so when you can endure it and turn the sanskaras that produce those shocking feelings, they will dissolve through that energy itself. And that's why it's called Shakti. It shocks you, and it does burn away those sanskaras. But as long as you're identified with those sanskaras, you will feel burned by it, and you won't want that. So there has to be a sufficient amount of disidentification that you are glad that it's being burned, and you release everything that is coming up and don't try to take it back again, and you stay free. And when you have done that, you will be in the emptiness of ego that will then be filled with the blissful light of the oneself. But you have to go through the ordeal of the burning before there is the peace and the presence that is the ultimate balm, and it comes as a balm of power that will soothe the heart and bring one into a state of complete repose. So stay with it this time. Don't give up, but hold it in stillness, and you will see that the suffering turns to wisdom, to joy, to love, to light, to the perfection of the recognition of the beauty of all that is. Okay? Namaste.